Hello, it is Wednesday and it's time for Pop and Politics. We are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. I'm KJ, and let me introduce you to my co hosts. We have Shelly E., Yana, and Colleen. T is out tonight and she will be back next week. It's the last Wednesday of the month. So tonight we also have Tyrone Keys joining us of Soldiers of Finance. He will be joining us a little later in the show. So we have an action-packed show for you tonight. Join the conversation by leaving a comment on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. Subscribe to our social media so you always know when we post new content. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers, guys. So we really need you to share it tonight. Share this broadcast, the YouTube broadcast, share that. We are almost at our goal of 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So please, when you share, ask a friend, ask a family member to subscribe. Also, we are an independent media, as you know, and we love your support. So you can also donate. Any amount is appreciated. You can go to the link here below and also check us out on our website at www.metroconservativemedia.com for up-to-date information. Again, we are a necessary voice in news and entertainment. All right, ladies, let's set it off. Okay, so we're going to start off tonight. I want you guys to take a look at this clip. This is clip number 1.
When are we going to start banning MAGA Republicans from establishments?
Probably about the same time y'all admit that there are only two genders and Nancy Pelosi goes to an Alcoholics Anonymous class.
They're just uneducated white people.
Oh, God damn it. Damn. You got me. Let me go ahead and take off this damn mask and then reveal who I really am. Girl, if you don't sit your dumb ass down.
Okay, so that is kind of the topic of the night. As you can see, we are all conservatives. We are all Republicans. We're not all white, as you can see. and the question I want to pose to you guys, to you ladies tonight, is it becoming dangerous to be conservative and speak out against the left and mob majority? So as you can take a look at that clip, that's kind of the sentiment we've been seeing over the last couple of years towards Republicans, towards conservatives. So I want to talk about that tonight. Shelly, what are your thoughts there?
So I don't know if it's becoming dangerous. Maybe there is some danger there in certain segments or certain places, depending on what's going on, the climate. But I will say this. This started more so under the first Black, or was he the second Black president? I'm not sure if it was Clinton or Obama, whichever one. But it started under, I'm going to call him the second Black president, but the first maybe real Black one. It started under President Obama. It has escalated more and more under this president, number 46, who we call President Biden. Secondly, well, I'll take my second point.
Okay. All right. Colleen, what are your thoughts there? Do you think it's becoming dangerous to be conservative and speak out against the left and the mob majority?
Yes, I would say it is. I mean, not as much as it was back in like 2020, but it's frustrating because I mean, now that I live in Florida, I could probably wear a MAGA hat if I wanted to, but back in Maryland, I didn't feel like I could just, wear whatever I wanted to wear. I mean, I have some pretty controversial shirts. I had like a recall Gavin Newsom shirt that had some eyes rolling before. So, I mean, but I think that it's frustrating because I'm too old to be able to handle the confrontation now. Like, I wish that I was a little bit younger during this era so that I could actually, have more of a voice or something like that. But it's like, when you're an adult, you got kids, you have a day job, you got things you got to do. We can't really go out in the streets and cause havoc when we're upset about something.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Yana, on this? Do you believe that it's become dangerous to be a conservative these days, or Republican, or speak out against the left and the mob majority?
Well, just like Colleen said, depends where you live, and definitely in Washington D.C. area, in Baltimore area, if you have any kind of identifying, things like a MAGA hat, like it's you going to have some problems. Like someone's going to yell at you, or even spit on you, or worse. So definitely, it is more dangerous in some places, and like we see a lot of well, not a lot, but I mean, I do see like Biden, we saw like Biden stickers, or when they would, during the election times, they will have um the yard signs and things like that. And I'm sure that when they're putting their signs, they're not thinking, oh my gosh, like somebody might vandalize my house. And like we have to think about that. So when we put a yard sign for someone, a Republican, you never know what might happen.
So let me go back. I want to jump back to something Shelley said about this actually starting under the Obama administration, because we get a lot of pushback about that. Because some people say the opposite. Some people say that a lot of discrimination and racist attacks started under the Obama administration because he was the first Black president. It brought race to the forefront, and a lot of people, they say on the left, talk about conservatives and Republicans, and on the right are the ones that kind of start this aggressive behavior, and it was started under Obama. What are your thoughts on that, Shelley?
I disagree. Now, let's be clear. Racism has always been a part of human history, certainly in America. None of us would deny that. However, under President Obama, I do know I can give you two examples. One example was that he had the IRS basically target conservative nonprofit groups, and I guess they were extra auditing them, or whatever the terminology is. That was number one. And number two, he sort of instigated the idea that the police, when he called police names during these high profile events, that he had, none of us at that time, when he said the statements that he did, had any details about what happened, other than that particularly Trayvon Martin was killed by George Zimmerman, who was not a police officer. And there was another incident when the police were involved with a professor down here in Southern Maryland. So these are the cases that I say and I believe that Obama instigated. Whatever number. But the next point I would like to make is that, to somewhat disagree with Yana, I get it. I'm only one person. But under President Trump, I wore MAGA and all kinds of Trump signs and things like that. No one spit on me. In fact, the opposite happened. I got a lot of applause from white people, from Black people who wanted to be very hush about it, right? I got all kinds of accolades about the things that I wore, from my t-shirts, earrings, whatever it may have been. So I'm not saying it never happened, y'all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not, and again, I'm only one person. I will say this. For conservatives, particularly over the last maybe 6 years, including this time even more so under this president, for conservatives, what has been happening is that divisions have been happening, I think, to the exponential degree. We are losing, or we have lost, more friends, maybe even some family members, and maybe in some other areas of our lives, we have lost because we are conservative.
Now, I want to talk about that because there have been, especially lately in the news, aggressive behavior. We actually have a death of a conservative recently. So, not sure if you guys have been found, but according to Fox News, Shannon Brandt, 41, killed 18-year-old Kayler Ellingson early Sunday in McHenry. I can't recall the state that is. I think it might be Wyoming.
I think it's in North Dakota.
North Dakota, okay. With an SUV in an alley, KVRR TV reported. It's a local station. He is charged with vehicular homicide and leaving a scene of a deadly accident. So Brandt reportedly called 911 to report the crash. He basically hit this boy, this teenager, because they had a disagreement a political disagreement, and apparently this teenager is on the right. And so he decides to mow this boy down in the street. So he has been charged with driving under the influence and through and also vehicular manslaughter, I believe. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on that. I mean, this is just one of many. We have another case where recently where a pro-life activist. This was just here near here in Pennsylvania, near Maryland. He was his the FBI agents arrived at his home in Pennsylvania to arrest him. He's a dad, a husband of I think like 7 kids. They stormed his house with guns and around 7 a.m. that morning and arrested him apparently for what he was doing outside of a abortion clinic. So I mean, we do see this. We all you guys mentioned about the FBI and the Obama administration arming the IRS. Well, now under Biden, you have him Merrick Garland going after parents who disagree with CRT, and they are telling FBI agents to go after these parents in Virginia and all across the country. I mean, this is something. This is real. This is real. I want to get your thoughts on this, Yana, to respond to what Shelley said.
Well, I mean, I'm glad. I do agree that I still think that it's absolutely dangerous, depending, of course, on where you live. So in places like I lived most of my life in America in Washington, D.C. And I know for a fact that, first of all, in different parts of D.C., I mean, I was already targeted in DC, maybe because, I mean, I don't want to make it racial, but, maybe because I look different. I mean, I was kicked on the metro for no reason. Like I had to call the police because somebody attacked me. I was, targeted by people who wanted to steal my money. And when I told some people about it, that it happened, I was told, well, you kind of stand out in that neighborhood, so
Now,
you
was
should
this
have been
because you were
more.
conservative? Did you have
No,
No,
not
she's
because I
right.
was no.
Right.
But I'm just saying, if on top of that I was also wearing a MAGA hat, I
Yeah.
can't even imagine like what would be happening with me. So like when I would go to the rallies and protests and things like that in DC, I would try to go with somebody. Like I would never be alone, like on a metro or on the street, if I'm wearing something that's identifiable, that I'm going
You
to.
are talking about DC, so I mean, you're talking about high crime area.
Anywhere. Well,
I don't
not
know
that
if
here.
that has anything to do with you being
In Howard County, I'd never walk around in Howard County with a MAGA hat, which is where I hail from. I would
And I'm not, and not just when if it's a racial thing. I mean, there are so many I mean, obviously, we live in a very liberal place. So like DC is very liberal. Doesn't matter what race the people are, and I wouldn't be surprised if white people in DC would be super nasty to me. I mean, I am sure about it. Like if I went to a restaurant,
so wait a minute, just like this lady is saying white people are the MAGA, just like the clip we saw. So it's only white people that can be nasty, because I know some pretty nasty. I mean, come on now.
I just said black people might kick me or punch me or something. And
well, you're saying might. You're saying might, and that brings us to another point. Something Shelley had said a couple weeks ago. Are we wearing these items? You can go around Maryland, around Baltimore, and you can see those on the left wearing pro-choice
That's what my point. Yeah, they're wearing it without fear. And
so are conservatives standing up for our rights and showing that we do care about certain issues, or are we kowtowing?
No, we can't, because if we don't prosecute crimes, how can we speak freely? Because like I said before, I'm not 10 years younger. I can't just get into street fights with somebody because I want to wear a MAGA hat. I actually would have to call
a MAGA hat. Have you worn a MAGA hat and been accosted, or have you been called names or anything like that when wearing on the right or Republican paraphernalia?
Yes.
Where and when?
And that's interesting. And I have not.
Pennsylvania, rural Pennsylvania. rural Pennsylvania, not even in, I wouldn't have dared wear it in Maryland. In
Right.
rural Pennsylvania, I was at a freaking Trump rally in a red county, and some girl was like, "Oh, I didn't know this was your costume," because it was on Halloween night. And I was like, basically tried to call me a clown, made some kind of thing, like just something that when I was 10 years younger, I would have been like, "Excuse me," you know what I mean? But I was just like, I'm just going to be the bigger person here, you know, but yes. And then somebody on the way down the way, on the way to DC, this guy came right up in my face, and everybody around literally was like, "Oh my God, this guy's about to beat the crap out of this girl in this MAGA hat right now." We were on the way to, I don't remember what it was. It was probably one of the Stop the Steal rallies. And some guy literally was hanging on the bars right in front of my face and stuff. Like it was a bunch of people wearing MAGA hats. So yes, of course you get accosted wearing that shit. Like, I'm sorry.
Let me ask you this. But let me ask you this.
Thing.
I mean, the things that you have just detailed,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to ask you this, Shelly, is that being soft-skinned? I mean, these are things that happen to. I used to ride the light rail and the bus in Baltimore City. That's gonna happen to whether you have on a MAGA hat or not. These kinds of things can happen to you anyway. So I mean, are we being a little bit timid?
I think in some ways, in certain circumstances, conservatives are being a little timid. I think in certain circumstances. Now, I will say this to KJ and Colleen. Depending on where you are, Yana, I can get it because now I'm going to use myself. I'm in a little bit of different circumstance. So there are times where I cannot, quote unquote, instigate, right? Because of different circumstances that I find myself in pretty much every day. However, any of these things can happen anywhere. And yes, conservatives by and large are pussies. They are. Well, they're pussies.
I agree with that because one thing that I wouldn't encourage, like if you don't feel safe on the street, I would not encourage people wearing anything MAGA related, because that's just calling for some violence that might be, and I mean that can cause real violence.
Mm-hmm.
However,
they will not go to jail.
How does wearing something cause violence? See, if people are responsible for their own actions, right? If that's what we say, it
will attract violence. How about that?
Yeah.
So
like
listen,
what made this man?
For example, in the workplace. So
that's different.
Hold on.
Okay.
What I can say, like on the street, I'm a little bit more cautious because, I mean, I really don't want to get physically hurt. Then in my office, like jobs that I had, let's say prior, so I left my last job was in 2020, that where I actually worked in the office. And I was very open about what I thought, politically. I would always talk about it. People knew exactly, who I supported. So I think that more people can do that because,
Marquita's comment right here.
Yeah.
Big facts.
Because I mean, what I'm saying is that be bold. If your job discriminates you for your political views, that's anti-American. They are in the wrong.
Right. So Shelly, if you wear a MAGA hat, okay, people can't attack you because something, that spark in their brain goes, wait, I thought that means racism, but a black person's wearing it. What is it? Like something goes off in their brain. But if a white person's wearing it, they're like, we must kill that Nazi.
So you're saying I have black privilege.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't say black privilege.
That's true. That's true. That's why this whole privilege thing. This whole
MAGA hats, yes. Specifically for that, pretty much. Yeah, like you get to wear that. Pretty much that. Yeah, just that. But that, I mean, does that make sense? Like it's like something goes off in somebody's brain. They're like, wait, I don't get it. Explain. Right.
That brings me to another point. The backlash that Black conservatives get. We've talked about this on the show numerous times. Just recently on The View, Sonny Holston made some very nasty comments about Black conservatives. And that's one thing we do. We get that. We do get a lot of pushback once they find out that you are not part of on the Democrat ticket. that you know are have your own mind and your own voice, and you don't follow the Democrat Party, they go berserk about that. If you are African American, so we have talking about that. Look what happened to that professor, the Harvard professor Roland Fryer. Oh my gosh, I believe he was like a world renowned economist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know about? Can you talk about that?
I mean, he's still at Harvard, but basically all of his research grants and his lab, he had a research lab set up and that was sponsored by all these researchers and whomever foundations, that was taken away. So basically, he has basically been academically emasculated.
Mm-hmm. And why is that though?
Because he dared to write the truth, particularly his research that showed two different things. It was a bimodal research. One, it showed that Black people, by and large, were more aggressively handled for misdemeanors or minor crimes by police. And it also showed that as far as police shootings, Black people were not in the majority, and that white people were actually shot more than Black people. Well, that caused a whole lot of academic hullabaloo, and this man has basically been, again, academically emasculated.
Join the conversation by leaving a comment on our Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. Also subscribe. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we are almost at 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Please share this broadcast. Send it in a message on your Facebook, on your Instagram, on your YouTube if you can, and tell your friends and family to subscribe. That way we do broaden our reach. And again, we are an independent media, and each time you do that, it helps to get our voices out there. All right, we are moving right along. As I mentioned at the top of the show, this is the last Wednesday of the month. And guess what that means? We have Tyrone Keys with us, joining us tonight. How is it going, Tyrone?
It's going good, ladies. How you guys doing?
We are well. We are well.
Good.
Yeah. So again, we're excited to have you tonight. This is Tyrone Keys from Soldiers of Finance, talking to us about everything money, economy, and things like that. So we want to get right into it. So we want to talk about, as I mentioned earlier at the top of the show, the economy. So last week, White House Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said this, and this is according to the New York Post. She says, this is one of the strongest job markets that we have seen on record. And so what are we seeing? And I've said this before, you've heard this from Brian Deese, is a transition to a more steady and stable growth. And that's what we're currently seeing and in the process of moving the economy into. I end quote there. So my question, my commentary on this is, companies are laying off people now. A lot of big companies are announcing the elimination of executive positions. Gap, Boeing, last month Walmart announced that it would eliminate 200 corporate jobs. And on top of it all, as my favorite line in Game of Thrones, winter is coming, which means we'll need heat, which means we'll need oil and gas. So who do we believe and why? The Biden administration's outlook, or does the economic outlook state differently? I want to get your thoughts on that, Tyrone.
Well, the Biden administration recently told you that we're not in a recession, although we have proved on the Soldiers of Finance channel, others have too, that we definitely are. And we've used the government's own data to make the case. They've also told you that inflation was transitory. So, we're developing a pattern here. You really can't trust anything that this administration says. Okay. They seriously don't have a clue. You got Karine Jean-Pierre, nice enough lady, I guess, but she has never seen the inside of a macroeconomics class. You can tell. As far as the president, well, we all know he's out to lunch, suffering from some mid-stage of dementia. So, there's that. So what do? We have to rely on our common sense and start to, look at the bright side, which the bright side is that there are a lot of bargains out there with regard to assets. Okay. So if you happen to have enough money after you go to the grocery store, maybe you will, be interested in purchasing some of these assets that are on sale. But I would definitely caution anybody. I guess watching the White House daily thing that they do may have some entertainment value, but it does not have any informational value whatsoever.
All right. I want you ladies to open it up to any questions that you have regarding this.
So, Tyrone, I have a question. My question is more, I don't know, philosophical, economically so. Why do Americans, supposedly one of the, we're the best people, not supposedly, we have been up to a recent times, one of the best educated, best financially, of course, world standards. Why do we have a hard time believing what we see versus what the government tells us?
Well, it's a vestige of, a time at which the government put this infrastructure in place that gave you the impression that they could be trusted. And now, with the advent of the internet, information moves a lot quicker. So it's a lot tougher for governments to hide their true intent and the things that they're doing. So you're right. Americans do need to get over that. I think that is starting, and the pendulum is swinging way hard in the other direction. Where I love the country. A lot of people are moving out of the United States for economic and other reasons. I am not going anywhere. I will turn the lights out and then stay. But I will say that folk are really having they're not trusting America. I don't trust this government. If they said that the sky was blue, I don't trust almost anything that the politicians come out and say on a daily basis, because they don't understand what's going on. And then you have a media apparatus. And I made a post on Facebook. I think Facebook is suppressing content ahead of the election, because like nobody saw this. I made a post about your platform, Metro Conservative Media, and I encouraged people to subscribe to this channel. So, get onto this platform, because it's alternative media. CNBC, CNN, Fox. I haven't watched news of any kind, any televised news, in over 10 years. And somehow I'm still alive and still able to come onto a platform like this and have an intelligent conversation. So people should start to look at alternative media like you ladies. And I think they do a lot better. Start to be able to discern the truth.
Now, Tyrone, you mentioned the government. I want to talk a little bit about the Fed. So, the Fed raised interest rates, and they plan to raise them, according to CNN, 2 more times this year. How will this affect employment outlooks, and why is the Fed doing this? Because a lot of people are upset about it.
Well, you've got two things. You've got fiscal policy. This is the part of the economy that the president and the Congress controls in the form of taxation, mainly, okay, or writing legislation designed to spend money. That's fiscal policy. And then you have monetary policy, which is what the Fed does. So the manipulation of interest rates and actual money supply. Okay. The Fed, the Fed has its issues, no doubt. But people need to take a look at the beginning of the supply chain, which is Congress and the president. Because in many ways, the Fed is responding to what they've done. Take the stimulus that we got for COVID, for example. They legislated that, and the Fed's like, well, we didn't have a say, but we still need to control the monetary policy piece of this. And so, yes, inflation is going to happen. They knew that. But we'll just have to deal with it on the back end. So really, the catalyst for most of the turmoil that we see today is from the fiscal policy piece.
Okay. Well, we will continue to follow this and monitor this. I encourage everyone, as I do every time you are on here, Tyrone, to check out your YouTube channel, Soldiers of Finance. Again, it is a wealth of knowledge and information. You had some very good information regarding the Fed's role and the government's role that I watched a couple of days ago. I really enjoyed that, and I like the entertainment parts that you put into your videos as well. So it's not only informative, but it's entertaining. So I encourage people to go to YouTube and go to the Soldiers of Finance channel, and certainly just take some time and go through the videos. They're really good. Really
Thank
good.
you so much for that. And we do have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you hit subscribe and you don't like what you see, we'll give you a 100% refund. So just go ahead and hit subscribe.
All right, excellent. All right, well, that does it for this portion of the show. So thank you so much for coming in with us and chatting with us. Until next month, the last Wednesday of each month. We'll see you then.
All righty.
All right. All right, so we are moving right along. Again, that was Tyrone Keys from Soldiers of Finance. Guys, if you haven't done so already, go to YouTube and subscribe to that channel. It's very, very helpful, especially in this perilous economic times. We're really about to hit some bumps as far as our pockets. And so he has always been ahead of the curve on all of this. So certainly check him out, Soldiers of Finance on YouTube. All right, so we are moving right along to our second topic of the night. I want to start out with this clip. Take a look. This is clip number 2, and then I want to get you ladies' response.
Now, honey, if you're walking in the bathroom with looking like Ice Cube with a dress on, baby, take your butt to the men's room. Right. We're not playing that game. Right. Now, if you're looking like, now let's be honest, if you saw me walking out on the street and you didn't know me, you would think I'm just a natural born female. Right. Baby, you look better than 99% of them born females.
They say now, the men are the new women.
Oh, absolutely. That's very true.
Yes.
Who says that? I've never heard that all the time.
That's the way of the world.
They're bitchy, baby.
World. That's just like the status quo of the streets.
I don't really like that because I don't want to say I'm a man. Like, no, I feel like I identify myself as a woman. My mind is a woman. My body is a woman. And no, I'm not a man.
You know what, Sydney?
And I don't look at Sydney and say that's the man.
You know what, Sydney? Because I'm very, straight to the point. Only because you come across very much like a woman, I'll give you that.
All right. So that was a clip off of a show that I can't even remember the name of the show. But it's like a YouTube show, or I think it may actually be on TV, and they were talking about transgender movement. So I want to get your response on that, Yana. What did you think about that conversation?
Well, men are the new women. I mean, yeah, it seems like men are starting to do things that women, I guess, there's a saying that says men do everything better than women. So that kind of came to my mind that when they were talking about it, it's like they're reinforcing that idea that the men are now have to be in women's spaces. But what I have to say about that is, this person who looks like a woman, that's a caricature of a woman. So what woman is not necessarily, the big boobs and the makeup and the nails and the jewelry. Like that's actually, from a feminist perspective, that is a stereotype of a woman. That is not what a woman is. A woman can look however she wants. She doesn't have to have curves. She doesn't have to wear jewelry. She doesn't have to wear makeup. She doesn't have to, flaunt her body. She is still a woman. She can dress in very, whatever, neutral clothing and still be a woman. And what they're doing is that they're dressing up in a woman costume and pretending to be women. And okay, sure, you pass as a woman, you go into the bathroom, nobody, realizes anything because you're wearing a woman's costume. I mean, that's all I have to say about that.
All right. Oh, I want to get your thoughts on that, Shelly. You heard, what that person said. So that was a transgender woman, and basically they were saying that they present as a woman, and basically, I don't know the person's name, but they certainly did present as a woman. So, and you said I am a woman, is what the person said. What are your thoughts?
Well, what Yana just described sounds like a man to me, because I disagree with Yana. That person, even though this is a biological man, she looks or he looks like a woman. And if he just walked by me, unless I saw an Adam's apple or a cup sticking out of his private area, I would not think that it was a man biologically at the very least. So yes, women do. To disagree with Yana a little bit, women do like to flaunt their bodies and wear jewelry. That's a part, and wear makeup certainly. That's a part of being a woman. And no, not all women wear jewelry. We get it, but that is a part of being a woman, is to show her beauty and to adorn herself with jewelry, clothing, things like that, however much or whatever is necessary. So I disagree on that point. However, this man, the other man, the actual biological man that was sitting there, is co-signing this bull crap. This Bravo
biological men. There were two biological.
Yeah, the biological man was co-signing this Bravo Sierra. I mean, this is astronaut. This is outrageous. These people, these biological men, like someone, I think Yana said, moving into these female spaces, and then you have the women agreeing with it, and then the biological men agreeing with it. What the hell?
Shelly, I just don't understand what exactly you disagree with.
I disagree with this man parading as a woman.
You disagree with me.
He's not a woman. He's not a woman.
He is a woman?
No, he's not. He's not. He looks like a woman, I said. He
so
looks
you don't disagree with me.
No, I'm disagreeing with you to say that you said women are not ones who dress and whatever. Yes,
that doesn't make you a woman. Your jewelry,
that's a part of being a woman. That's a part of being a woman. No, it does not make you a woman. What makes you a woman is having 2 X chromosomes, a vagina, and some breasts. What makes you a man is having an XY, a penis, and no breasts.
So wearing jewelry or putting on makeup doesn't make someone a woman.
I didn't say make you. I said it's a part of being a woman. I was very clear on that.
What are your thoughts, Colleen, on this? You heard what the transgender woman said. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with her? She's fine as long as she looks like a woman. She is a woman, and then the rest of them co-signing what she said.
Well, the one lady looked like she wanted to say something real bad. She picked up her drink. She was like, okay, but like she looked like she really, you know which one I'm talking about, right? She looked like she wanted to say something, but like you could tell that she didn't say something because she's too afraid to, and that's the worst part about it, because like actual women, we can't say anything anymore. I mean, yes, we can, but it's so attacked to even have an opinion on anything about like transgenderism or anything like that. So
yeah, truth is under attack. Truth is under attack, and the more that we kowtow and afraid to say anything, the more the lies become normal. This is not normal, and I want to give some history on this because it's not normal, and we need to talk about it. We need to talk about when and where this began. We're in the 20th century now, and everything has changed. We went through millennials of knowing what a man is, knowing what a woman is, and everything was fine. And then, all of a sudden, this whole concept of gender came out, and then everything changed. Well, where did it originate from? Was Dr. John Money. He was an early pioneer of gender theory. He actually coined the terms gender role, gender identity, and sexual orientation. And he advocated for open marriages and group sex. He also was supportive of pedophilia, and he made a distinction between what he called sadistic pedophilia and affectional pedophilia, and held a relationship between he basically said it helped if you help you can, it's okay if a relationship between a grown man and a child, as long as they are basically mutually okay with it. So, in 1965, you guys, I'm not sure if you heard of the Raymer twins, David and Brian Raymer, twin boys. One had a botched circumcision. I think that was David, where his penis was burned off, and his parents contacted this Dr. Money because of his gender theories. And Money told them to raise David as a girl since his penis had burned off and never tell him of his true identity. The idea was that gender is construct, so if you construct a female identity for him, it should solve the problem. But as we know, the truth, David was a boy, and his boyishness came out across, very early. The female identity wasn't taking. So what did Dr. Money do? He tried to force it. He had regular sessions with the boys where he tried to reinforce David's female identity. This included forcing them to stimulate sex acts on each other. He photographed the children nude. This reminds you of something just recently happened, not nude, but, talking about Tiffany Haddish and the Aries guy. Well, that's a whole nother thing. And then he believed pedophilia could be a legitimate sexual orientation. This is Dr. Money. But David was still a boy. The truth will set you free. Eventually, his parents had no choice but to tell him the truth. The harm was already done. Both boys went on to lead damaged lives and killed themselves. David killed himself first, and then a few years later, the brother followed. So
I can't.
Yeah, it's a lie. It is a lie. It is not normal. We are out here normalizing gender dysphoria. We're normalizing mental illness. And we need to talk about it because they're pushing this stuff on our children, which we'll talk about a little later. And it needs to stop. We shouldn't be afraid to say it. It needs to stop. Somebody should have told that transgender woman, no. If you want to get a surgery and change all your parts and all that type of stuff, that's fine. You are not a woman. You are a transgender woman. There is a distinction. And so I want to get you guys' thoughts on that. Should there be a disclaimer on this stuff?
Well,
should they be allowed to say that they are women or they are men when they are not?
They're not women. I mean, and they know that for a fact. If they pass as a woman, okay, they pass as a woman. I mean, whatever. But one thing that I was thinking when you were talking about earlier, how many people are coming out right now who are regretting what they did to themselves. Like I read stories almost every day, people are posting of a 17-year-old who was told when she was 14, when she said that she wanted to be a boy, and she was taking testosterone. She was given testosterone pills by a medical professional. Her parents were convinced that that's what she needed because otherwise she would kill herself. So if she would take the testosterone pills, she did the surgery for her breast to be removed. And now she's 17. Her voice is a male voice. And regardless, even if she stopped taking the testosterone pills, the voice will never come back. So she'll always have a male voice. Now she doesn't have breasts. She has an Adam's apple, and she wants to be a girl. She wants to be what, she was born to be. And there's so many stories. Then there's men who get the surgery and to create a vagina, and it's painful. It's disgusting. It's
right.
pussy, and it's just it's a wound.
It's unnatural.
It's a constant wound.
It's
So
unnatural.
again, we talked to Tyrone just now. So again, we have parents, adults who are not just abusing children, they are mutilating them. This is no different than what happens in Africa in some countries and tribes, the genital mutilation that women in America will speak out about. But it's okay to chop off a child's penis, right? And a child's breast. and say it's okay and it's normal. No, it's not. It's mutilating these children under the guise of this white coat syndrome because doctors are now co-signing this. KJ, you mentioned John Money, and now we have the term, he normalized or wanted to normalize pedophilia. Now we have these academics talking about minor attracted persons. Let me just be clear. I don't know if this is going to get us censored. I'm just going to take the chance. You can bleep it out if you need to, producers. But let me tell you what a pedophile will do and wants to do to your children. They want to diddle and tittle your children. That's what they want to do. They want to stick their penises and fingers up in your children, in their butts, have their genitals in their mouths, and vice versa. This is what they want to do to your children. These are pedophiles. These are not normal people. They need to be put away and put under the ground, under the jail.
Oh my God.
And they're obviously everywhere. They're everywhere. Like the people that Shelly you're talking about, they're everywhere. They're in schools. They're in academia. Like
parents need to stop being so fascinated with people's titles and because of their positions and money. Stop it. Your goddamn children are being fucked by these pedophiles.
Not only that, it's not even about them, the academic. People are afraid to speak up because they feel like they're going to be deemed intolerant. They're going to be deemed bigot. You're going to be deemed, called all kinds of names.
Well, call me a name. I don't care. Call me a name for that. I will wear it as a badge of honor if I am going on the line, particularly protecting children from these monsters. Call me the name. Call me whatever the hell you want, but don't fuck with the children.
Well, I want to go back to something though from the clip, because what I want to actually get out of this is we do now. I'd say 5 years ago, when you saw, a drag show or you saw a transgender person, you knew what they weren't, what their biological sex was. You could, I know I could tell. I could, tell from like a couple feet away. Now, however, with the advent of surgery, with all this makeup, not only that, but we have even changed the idea of what a woman looks like. Most women can't even get up without putting lashes on, the extended nails, full face of makeup. It's all kind of transcended to have us all kind of looking draggish, I would say. So, now you can't tell. A lot of times you can't tell, that these people are not their biological sex. Is that an issue? Is that an issue? I want to get your thoughts on this, Yana. Is that a problem?
Well, just like I was saying earlier, all these things do not make a woman. So yeah, if you think that being a woman is putting fake lashes and so much makeup or doing plastic surgery, yes, there's lots of women who actual biological women who get plastic surgery. So sure, they might start looking like the men who try to be women, because those men also get plastic surgery.
But
so
should it be a disclaimer? Should they be required to say that they are trans?
Well, it depends on the situation. So again, should they be required? It depends on what the situation is. So I think, let's say in dating, I think yes. So if they're trying to date a man, they should say that they're not a biological woman, for multiple reasons. That's just being honest and being ethical and respecting.
What about, you saw what the transgender woman said in the clip, and a lot of them say it. They believe they are their new gender.
Well, what you believe, it doesn't make any difference in the reality of things. So you have to respect other person's desires, and if you're let's say in the dating world and you're a biological man who presents as a woman, and you're trying to date a man, and that man is not interested in another man, you should be honest about it. And the thing is that there's a transgender person that I followed on YouTube, and that's exactly what that person says, that you have to be honest, because first of all, you want to respect that person's desire. Second, it's safer that way, because I mean, this person who lies, if the person lies that they're an actual woman, and then something can happen, something terrible can happen to them, because
What about in advertising? So, recently we have here Zaya Wade. She has come out as the new spokesperson for Tiffany and Company with full makeup, hair, and of course filters. So again, this is Wade, what's his name? The basketball player, Dwayne Wade's biological son, who has transgendered into now is a trans girl. I think Zaya is about 14, maybe 15, I believe. But as you can see, Zaya has full hair now, hair weave. She has makeup, and totally is presenting as a real woman. So, and now is a spokesperson for Tiffany and Company. Should advertisers be required to identify these models as trans? What are your thoughts, Shelley?
I actually don't know, KJ, as far as advertisers, because again, I'm going to go back to the parents. The parents sign a contract for a minor, in most cases, for their minor children to be advertised and models for these companies. So between Tiffany and Company and Dwayne Wade and whoever, Gabrielle, they need their asses kicked. That's what I think. That's what I really think. They need to advertise their asses being kicked. Okay, I'm still upset about what we were just talking about with the damn children. They are still screwing with this child. He's what? He's not a girl. He is a boy. Now they got all this makeup on this child and hair, and this child is confused. Okay, he's 15 or 14. Just imagine what his life is going to be when he becomes 21 or 25. All right, then he's going to be suing because he wants my tax dollars to continue his surgeries that he shouldn't even be having in the first damn place. Let's advertise his father and mother or parents having their asses kicked. Right. I would pay for that show. Pay for that. First ringside, I would pay for it.
And what about you, Yana? As a consumer, would you want the advertisers to disclaimer if the model is transgender? Would you want that?
I mean, it doesn't matter really, because I mean, they're a private company. They will do whatever they want. Mm-hmm. So no, we can't really force them to disclaim anything, like any private information about the model. We do not know what that model is and what kind of physical deformities or whatever the person might have, or physical anything, any differences. So no, I can't ask them to do that.
So you feel differently for relationships, you believe they should say, but if they are advertising or products and things like that, you don't believe that should be something that they need to be truthful about.
I mean, it's not, if somebody asks them a specific question, if there's an interview with them, I think people should just be honest in general. So it's just better for society. So yeah, if they're asked in the interview that question, they should be honest. But I mean, the magazine, we can't really expect the magazine to say Zaya, whatever, transgender, under, like I mean, if, are you saying like in the article?
Right, in an article, or sometimes under the byline, Zaya Wade, transgender model, or as you would do in athlete, in sports, transgendered swimmer, or
okay. So rather than saying a woman or a girl,
female or male.
Yeah, I think it would be better. Like, I mean, yes, I think that in general we should be honest and truthful about the situation. I mean, I do not like the whole situation in general. So I'm frustrated, just like Shelley, that this is happening, that we have an underage teenager posed this way. So I mean, I cannot possibly expect any honesty from people like that, who would do that to a child to begin with. So of course they're not going to be honest. Like, that's not in their interest.
What about you, Colleen? What are your thoughts here? That's Zaya Wade becomes a new spokesperson for Tiffany and Company. Totally changed Zaya's look. Now full long hair, makeup, of course filters. should companies be required to, disclaimer that this is a transgendered model?
Yeah, because I think that it's not. I don't think it's fair to trick people into attraction and stuff like that. So if somebody were to look at Zaya like a male or something, like men really get freaked out by that kind of stuff too. So it's like straight men. So I mean, it's also the fact that these transgender surgeries don't work. They literally do not work. Bottom surgeries don't work. So you're either making a wound that's not supposed to be there, or you're creating a body part that doesn't function and literally will cause complications. So if you're false advertising permanent pharmaceutical cows, essentially, like you're essentially getting people stuck on the pharmaceutical industry with false advertising by saying that transgenderism is normal and trying to say that it is, like Zaya is a girl, that there is no difference. It's so dangerous. It's really dangerous. So
It is, and you have people who hold influence normalizing this. Zaya had a whole interview, which it was kind of weird. I don't even know why it was done, but she did a whole interview with Michelle Obama, and interviewed her and talked about transgenderism and things. This is normalizing mental illness for children. And now, not only are they doing it, this way, but they want to spread it for everybody. And we're getting to that in our next topic, our next segment. But I mean, this is a major issue, and it can actually change the trajectory of our world. Honestly.
I mean, we've had it for a long time already. Like, how about Jazz Jennings? Like, wasn't there a whole TV show?
Oh my goodness, Jazz Jennings. As you can see, Jazz has left the spotlight, and it's because that Jazz is going through some major mental health issues. So they use
physical. I mean, I think Jazz is having obesity issues right now. Like major.
Yeah. What about what's his name? Bruce Jenner. I'm blaming him too, because he kind of helped to normalize and make this stuff popular with these Kardashians or whoever he's married to. Bruce Jenner was on. I'm saying that in jest. I'm saying that in jest. He was a top athlete on the Wheaties boxes and all, and then he comes out parading like a woman. Not to mention some of the things, even in the popular media, some of the films that I have liked and laughed at, right? But again, I'm more upset. I'm like boiling because adults are using these children for their own sexual fantasies.
Right. And my thing is this: if you want to do it, do it. If you have the money and the time and all of this type of stuff, if somebody is going to actually do the surgery for you, not recognize that this is a mental illness, go at it.
I don't think so.
As a society, we need to recognize that this is not the base. It is not normal.
And you have to let children develop physically. So what is happening is that the first time I came across talking about Jazz Jennings, I remember watching like one episode of that, and there was the time where they were bringing Jazz to like get this consultation for the surgery, and they were saying that his penis like never grew.
That's called I forget what it's called. Miniature penis is
because he was taking the blockers, the testosterone blockers and puberty blockers the whole time, and taking the as a child.
Detransitioners is the name of the people that we were talking about before. People who transitioned and regret it and are trying to get back to it.
And so they said like this person's penis will never function. Like even if they do the whole surgery, there's going to be no sensation, nothing whatsoever. So like they're creating these like. What is this? Like, what is the benefit?
That's why I was saying, I totally disagree that people should because KJ was saying, like, if you want to do that, do it. I don't think bottom surgery should be a legal procedure. It doesn't work. And it makes people want to literally kill themselves when it doesn't work out properly. And they don't talk about it. These Reddit threads get removed when detransitioners speak out on it, because they do not want that narrative getting out, because they want people to get these surgeries because they get so much money.
A lot of money, yeah.
And What is a Woman? The documentary, Matt Walsh, one of a favorite podcaster among a lot of us. He's one of my favorites mainly because of the fact that he is so hard on this transgender movement. I mean, he's going to get it illegal. He's going to basically cause Tennessee to outlaw it among minors soon.
They have.
Yeah.
They have done it. Yes. Well, I want to move right on to our next topic, because this is kind of goes right along with it, hand in hand. Again, continue to comment, share, and like this broadcast. Again, we are on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. Also, subscribe. We are almost at 10,000 subscribers. If you are watching or if you are commenting, please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Share this, send it in a messenger to your friends, send it in a text message, the link, and tell them to subscribe too. Really appreciate it. And that will make our voice that much stronger. We are a necessary voice in news and entertainment. All right, so we are moving right along to our final topic of the night. We are talking about sex education in schools. All right, so along this topic, I want to just ask you guys the question, and then we'll go into this a little bit further. So when we're talking about sex education in schools, generally it starts around 5th grade, sometimes 4th, but definitely 5th grade. Should masturbation be taught? I want to start with you, Shelly. Yes or no?
I don't know. It depends on the context.
Sex education in schools. Should masturbation be taught?
I don't know. It depends on the context.
Okay. Yana, sex education in school. Should masturbation be part of that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Colleen, sex education in school. Should masturbation be part of the topic?
No.
Okay. What about homosexual sex? So again, we're talking about sex education in school. You know, I think we've all been through it. Should homosexual sex be taught? I'll start with you again, Shelly.
No, I think it's a perversion. And are we gonna explain, or we'll come back?
I want to go around, then we'll get into it. What about you, Yana? Homosexual sex, should that be taught in sex education in school?
Why?
Okay. And Colleen, what are your thoughts?
No.
Okay. All right. So now I want to get into it. Well, first, let me just say, just to give a context. The reason why I'm asking this is because teachers in Ohio school district are wearing name badges that students can scan with their phones to access an LGBTQ plus resource guide, which includes instructions on how to get abortions and organize like a sex worker. Hilliard City School District participates in the National Education Association. That's a teachers union. It is the largest teachers union in the country. It's called I'm Here program, which encourages teachers to wear the badge. The group says the program is supposed to educate teachers on how to respond to LGBT students. But a Washington Free Beacon review found that the QR code that takes students to resources that describe abortion and the removal of pregnancy tissue encourage gender transitioning without parental consent and promote sex work. It also takes them to some link that offers books with sexually graphic material, including descriptions of queer sex. This is some of it here. This is from the National Education Association, the largest teachers union in the country. This is what they are putting out to students. They want this to be part of the sex education class. All right, so the teachers' badges have sparked outrage amongst parents in Hilliard City. ABC6 reported earlier this month One parent says the badge has a QR code that once scanned takes you to a website that's extremely inappropriate information. And as a parent, that crosses the line. This is Hillard City parent Lisa Shafee. So I want to get back to what our topic, and I'll start with you, Shelly. So why were you, as far as masturbation is concerned, what do you mean depends on the context?
So if as a part, first of all, if sex education is only taught in reference to reproduction and body functions, masturbation, if it just has like a one line, this is what masturbation is. Not advocating for masturbation, not telling the students how to go and do it and sanction it. That's not what that's why I'm saying it depends on the context. But to just outright blanket say all these other perversions and equate masturbation with that, I think that's, to me, that's a little bit, it's over the top. Separate it. Masturbation, every human being, normal, let me say, every normal human being from birth until whenever, if you want to call it, masturbates themselves. And I'm not trying to be graphic. I'm just saying masturbation, simply put, is touching your own body, your private areas, for whatever reason you want, in general. To advocate it and to tell children, students to go do it and give them a QR code, that is beyond the pale. That's why I say
and maybe I needed to communicate this better. So I am not talking about advocating the information we just saw. What I am asking is, in a basic sex ed class, do you think masturbation should be part of the conversation? We know
I'm thinking about when I was in, I don't know, junior high, whatever. As a definition, that's all we were given, is what the definition of masturbation was. That was it. Nobody else thought anything of it. So in that sense, that's why I said it depends on the context. If you're advocating it and supporting it for children to do this and any other thing, that's where I draw the line. But I remember, and certainly I haven't been in high school or junior high in a long time, but we were just given the definition. That was it. Nothing else. That was it.
All right. What about you, Yana? So you said no. Why do you feel? Do you think you want to change that now that you heard what Evie said, as far as giving the definition would be?
You mean just talking about what masturbation is to the
right
in
a sex ed class?
I mean, I don't know what's the point. Like what is the goal of talking about it in the school setting?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can see there could be some, let's say they could say, instead of sleeping around, go masturbate instead. I mean, you could say something like to the student, to the young teenagers, instead of going around getting diseases and getting pregnant, here you can do that instead. But I feel like teenagers already know that. Like, come on. And it sounds like it's too much. Like, it's adults doing too much. Like, when they're talking about that when they're gonna talk about masturbation to teenagers, they're just gonna be like, what the hell is going on, and why are they talking to us about that?
What are your thoughts, Colleen? You heard the conversation. You said no. Now, do you think there should be at least a mention of it in sex ed, or as Shelly mentioned, or what are your thoughts there?
Not really, because I don't really see how anybody's better for learning about masturbation. Like, are any of the students going to come back like getting better grades the next day for learning about it? I mean, anybody who didn't know about it before that health class.
Is there going to be an exam?
Yeah, right. I mean, really, like, what exactly did they like? What do they want to teach them that for? That's really the question we should be asking them: is why? Why do they need to know about that? Why do you want to teach them that? You know what I mean?
And that gets to my point, throughout this whole thing. So, when you talk about masturbation, when you talk about, homosexual sex, both lead to nothing. So I think the whole idea of sex education in school is to teach about, the birthing story. You talk about how babies are born. You talk about, because basically through heterosexual sex, it can change your life, because you can bring about another life. If you have heterosexual sex, there is a good probability, or I'm not gonna say good, but there is a probability that you will become a father or a mother. It can change your life. However, it's a natural progression. We're talking about biology. We're talking about, labor and delivery. That's what comes, after the intercourse. You can talk about the biology of labor and delivery. Homosexual sex and masturbation is strictly for self-fulfillment. Why are teachers talking about that to children? That should be a conversation for parents.
Because the pedophiles, they're people that Shelley was talking about earlier. It must, they must like talking about it. Like, honestly, like they enjoy it. Like, what kind of perverted, sick person is gonna make all those pictures, and make a whole website about it, and then be like, oh, I gotta talk to middle school kids about it? Like, how sick, how disgusting. Like, why would even that come to your mind and make it
it's a philosophy. So you have some people who believe that we are born sexual beings. We are born. I had a conversation with someone about this. They believe that even babies are sexual beings. And so because of that, they believe that this is something, that should be taught. Girls should be taught how to self-pleasure. Now they've included the homosexual, portion about it. They believe this is a right. This is something everyone should explore. It's the whole normalization of this. They don't want it anymore to be separate, where you say, okay, well, we all, for centuries, for millennials, recognize heterosexual sex as the basis of everything. It's natural. It's, normal. No, now they want to say homosexual sex is just as normal as heterosexual.
But what's interesting, talking about history. So you just mentioned history. Actually, it was about year 300 or so BC. And this is from Sparta, so ancient Greece. And I'm reading this off of National Endowment for Humanities. So this is, reputable website, and it talks about the rite of passage. So there was a rite of passage for elite males in their late teens to enter into a pederastic relationship with an older man. This relationship was most likely was sexual, but also pedagogical. The older man took on the dominant role and as the lover, and they were teaching the youth philosophy, politics, and poetry. And the idea was that they're creating these I don't know, like versatile warriors that would have strong male bonds between each other, and they would be better fighters. So this is BC. And so they're repeating, it seems like they're repeating parts of history at this point, where they're teaching kids again how to be gay.
Well, you're right. You're right, Yana. This has happened in ancient Sparta and Roman times, Greek times. But KJ, to your point, you said something about, they want to make these things. This is natural. This is the whole thing. This is not natural. We know it, but they want to start with babies, start with the very young, whose brains are not developed, right? And a lot of times, the brains don't develop in young people until about age 24, 25, when it's fully developed. So they want to start early and change the whole psychology, the whole mindset of what would normally take place if they didn't have this indoctrination. Again, using these children for their own sexual fantasies and perversions. That's what they're doing. Leave a child alone. Yeah.
Even like what you mentioned, even our conversations now. So when you meet somebody, like let's say I'm talking to you, Colleen, and I haven't seen you in a while, and I say, oh, I'll say, do you have a boyfriend? You can't even say that now. Now the baseline to this is, do you have a partner? What, am I going riding? No. Do you have a boyfriend? Because again, they're trying to change that as the normal. It's there no more. They don't want us to say or assume that you as a woman would automatically be with a guy. Now it's the normal thing is not to assume gender, and you just say, do you have a partner? It's just these little small things are huge things, because it should not be the normal. And I'm sorry, but I may get, knocked down about this. It is not the normal to assume transgenderism, and it's not the normal to assume homosexuality. Again, if you want to be gay, that's fine. You want to be homosexual, you do whatever you want to do. But it is not normal. The normal is heterosexual. Then if you say, for some reason, if you turn out gay or whatever, or you like the same sex, okay, that's you. But it's not the normal. And we need to acknowledge that and stop letting them tell us it is. It is an option. It is like having dessert before dinner. It's not something you're supposed to do. But okay, if you want to do it, okay. But I'm not going to make that the normal thing. So because when we do that, it changes our entire society. It changes everything. And as you mentioned, Shelley, this is what they're trying to do, children, and it's wrong. Right. It is
and
wrong.
Let me add, KJ, when we talk about changing society, if you say that there's no such thing as a man, there's no such thing as a woman, homosexuality is the norm, guess what? You don't really have a society, not just change society. You have a society where people are they're just almost faceless in a sense. They are just beings. They are cogs of the state. They are basically handmaidens for the state. And so they want to get the children younger and younger. And this is how it starts. They're going to try to change their normal development, again, from babies to whatever age.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll continue to talk about this. I'm actually doing a whole show about this tomorrow. I really hope everyone tunes in. The 8:30 show. I am talking about this and how it ties into to transhumanism and the digitization of everything. It all goes hand in hand. And so I'm really going to break it down. So if you're here tomorrow, 8:30. Eastern Standard Time. Join us same time, same 8:30, same place, and I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. But as you mentioned, you're totally right, Shelley. Not only do we become cogs, but it takes away it devalues humanity, and so that is actually with abortion, with the genderless society, all of it. It is a devaluation of humanity. And then what happens when you devalue humanity? It's easier to transition into AI, into transhumanism, into the fusion of robots and things like that with the human body. So again, when we devalue the body, when we say, oh, I can go take off my penis, I can take off my breasts, I can change this, change that, we become, it devalues the humanity. And this is what we get. And it's a breakdown of the society. And I gotta say it, my boy Glenn Beck, the Great Reset is coming. So, I mean, people called him crazy for years, and everything that man has said is coming to fruition. So, we will continue to talk about this. Last thoughts, ladies. We are at the end of our time. I want to start with you, Colleen, on the conversation tonight. What would you like the audience to take away?
Just to be very aware of the trans agenda that's going on in your schools, your kids' schools, because especially if you have daughters, they're the ones who are being most affected by it at this like teenage age. And like, that's really a hard age to be a girl. If you don't feel like if you're not Kylie Jenner or Kim Kardashian, that you're just a dude. So sometimes like you just need to be there to be like, you know what, girl, you are beautiful. Like, we all go through an awkward phase. I was not cute growing up. So like, it's just, you really kind of go through a phase. I feel like all women do. I feel like men do too. So just really nurture your children through this phase. If they feel like they're not a woman, it's probably just because they have low self-esteem at that moment, which is very normal. So just build them up. That's all I can say.
All right. And you're right. And sadly, it is the females. I mean, when you go to high schools, to middle schools, a lot of the girls are identifying as they, them, or non-binary, gay, this them, because again, we go through this awkward stage where we're trying to figure out who we are as females. And so now when you have this culture, teachers, parents, pop culture pushing you to say, oh, you feel awkward, it's because you're in the wrong body. This is giving them an outlet. So that's a very good thing to leave with. What about you, Yana? Anything you'd like the audience to take away from this
Well, yeah, that's a really good point that Colleen said, and that's what I was saying earlier, that all these things that they make it seem that a woman is not a woman is someone who every human being has a duty, has a responsibility, and the first number one responsibility is to have a family and have children. Of course, it's true some people are not able to have kids, but majority can. And so that is your duty and responsibility. So once you realize that, then you know exactly what your gender is. So if you're female, then you're going to be producing babies. You're going to be getting pregnant, giving birth to them. So you know exactly that you're a woman. You're not going to be confused in any way possible. It doesn't matter how you look like and how cute you are. You're still a woman. Like, come on. Like, it's just simple truth. And you know what, and it's true with KJ, you said there's a great reset, there's a battle going on right now. This issue is actually on the battlefield right now. If you look into what's going on in Eastern Europe right now, this exact issue is on the battlefield.
All right. Last thoughts, Shelley, on the whole show tonight. What would you like the audience to take away?
I'm going to end with these words, these famous words that have never left my mind. I'm quoting our former second Black president, Obama. We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. And that's exactly what we're seeing.
All right. You're right. And on that note, from that note, I will say because of that, as a result of that, we must be bold. We must be bold. We cannot afford to be quiet, to be shy, to be polite. We cannot afford it. Our children cannot afford it, and their children cannot afford it. Generations to come are depending on you and me and everyone that's listening on this to be bold and stand up for truth. For truth. And yes, we may get penalized. We may get knocked down. But guess what? In the end, it will be worth it. So I challenge you, I encourage you to be bold and stand up for truth. And, you don't have to be nasty or anything like that. But truth is what people need to hear. So again, we thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, continue to share this broadcast, like, share, and leave a comment. Again, share this in your messenger if you can to your friends and family. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. So exciting. So again, that's our goal. So please continue to share this broadcast and encourage people to subscribe. It makes our voice that much stronger. We are bold. So again, if you can't be bold, we will be bold for you. All you got to do is continue to share our broadcast. Get the word out. If you can't be bold, if you don't want to say anything, let us do it for you. And you can do it by sharing our broadcast. So certainly we appreciate it all. Again, we are a necessary voice in news and entertainment. Check us out on our website. That we are in the process of updating that. But you can go to www.metroconservativemedia.com. We look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
When are we going to start banning MAGA Republicans from establishments?
Probably about the same time y'all admit that there are only two genders and Nancy Pelosi goes to an Alcoholics Anonymous class.
They're just uneducated white people.
Oh, God damn it. Damn. You got me. You know, let me go ahead and take off this damn mask and then reveal who I really am. Girl, if you don't sit your dumb ass down.